I've received a ton of questions over the past few weeks about SWAT teams. What are they? What type of calls do they respond to? How do you get on a SWAT team? What is your role on a SWAT team? So this week's video is going to concentrate on that. There will be no amount of time in the world that I could cover the entirety of each dynamic of a team. So instead, I'm going to give you a broad overview and general roles of members within a SWAT team. Now, you have to keep in mind every team is different depending on the size of your agency, where you're located, what type of things your local legal system allows you to do within a critical incident. Each team is going to function differently within each incident. Now, to give you some context, our team is on an on-call basis. Major metropolitan areas will have full-time teams, and they are 24 hours a day ready to go, and their call volume is insane. Our team, we are a fairly larger agency, but we are on an on-call basis. So if there's narcotics warrants or a hostage situation or a barricade situation, they call us and we respond. We're not at the ready 24 hours a day. With that being said, there's a primary function and a primary purpose for a SWAT team. The primary function of our team is basically warrant service or barricades. Those are the most common incidents that we respond to as a SWAT or special response team. We do that because that's the most common call. So that's kind of our bread and butter. We're used to warrant service. We know what we're doing on barricades. So those calls, we're fairly confident in our abilities and what we can do. However, the primary purpose for SWAT teams is hostage rescue. I say that because you have to be ready when that situation arises, because there's no one else that's going to be called in a hostage rescue situation. You have to be able to respond efficiently, and you have to be able to conduct yourself through the incident effectively. And you have to bring that incident to an end safely. If you're not on top of your game and you haven't trained right, then a disaster is going to happen. Hostage rescue is the number one thing that we train for, and it's the number one thing that we have to be ready for as a SWAT team, because you don't have any room for mistakes during those incidents. During a hostage rescue, like I said before, there's no one else. Patrol's going to respond to a situation like that. They're going to call the SWAT team, and there's not some magical team that drops out of the sky that's going to come save you. Your team, if you function within that jurisdiction, is going to be responsible for that incident, and it's going to be responsible for bringing that to an end safely and possibly making a fairly difficult decision in life or death. Now, I want to reiterate, every team is different, so I might cover something in the overview that another jurisdiction doesn't do or another jurisdiction doesn't have. There might be something that we don't have that another jurisdiction has. So it's kind of all give and take, and each team is made up differently of different operators with different budgets and different agencies. So invariably, things are going to look different from team to team. Our team is made up of around 16 or 17 members. We have a hostage negotiation team, we have a gas team, snipers, we have breachers, operators or team members, a team commander, so on and so forth. So we have a somewhat complete team to respond to critical incidents, and we can handle most critical incidents that occur. One thing that sets apart SWAT members from patrol officers is training. There's an awful lot more training and an awful lot more tactical experience within SWAT operators than there are patrol officers. And that's not a better or worse thing. That's just, if you're in this specific job, if you're on a SWAT team, you're going to have to receive that training and have to be proficient at it. So we train more than the average patrol officer. With that being said, there's an expectation on our team to give that training back to patrol, so we try to do several in-services throughout the year to try to help out our patrol division become more tactically sound. We also have level of expectations within our team. You have to maintain a certain level of proficiency with your weapons systems. You also have to maintain a certain level of proficiency physically. We do have a PT test or physical assessment each year that each member is required to pass to show that they are committed to that physical fitness standard each year and that they're not regressing in that regard. To actually get on the team, there are some standard operating procedure guidelines that we do follow. However, the main thing that we consider when bringing on a member onto our SWAT team is dependability, credibility, and reliability. The members have to be dependable. You have to know that they're going to be there. They have to be credible. You have to know that what they say is what they mean. And then also responsible. They got to be responsible for one another. There can't be any bad attitudes, any bad apples, things of that nature. You have to be all in as a team. There can't be any individual attitudes or any individual issues that are coming up that are hurting the team. So our team focuses on those issues, and so long as you meet those requirements and you have the experience, you have a fairly good shot of making the team. Usually there is a level of experience requirement, and that's true for most departments. I believe ours is 5 years. I'm not quite positive of that, but that would probably be an average, just being in the community for a while and talking to other team commanders. 5 years tends to be about the norm for most SWAT teams. Having 5 years on of experience in a patrol or detective capacity or some other specialized unit, just having that general street knowledge and then applying for the team is a pretty common theme within applying for a SWAT position. Now, moving into the overview of the team, again, I want to stress I'm not going to be able to cover every single facet. I'm going to miss a lot of tools that we use. I'm going to miss a lot of equipment that we use. I'm not going to be able to cover all the vehicles in detail because shooting this, I had to balance, some of our tactics versus time. So I'm not going to show you all the tactics or all the tools that we have, and I also only have so much time to make these videos. So this is a broad overview, and what I think I'll do is if you have questions, just put them in the comments. I'll answer them the best I can, and then I might have to parlay this into other videos to concentrate on those specific areas that you have questions on. So moving forward, let's go down to the team headquarters, and I'll start going over the team overview from there. All right, that was quick. So I'm down here at SWAT headquarters, and I figured the best thing to do to try to explain this would be to go through the structure of a SWAT team. Now, I'm going to be speaking in generalities. This isn't going to be the same for each team, and every team's not going to be set up exactly the way we are. But for the most part, teams have a hierarchy or a tier system involved with their structure. The very first thing that you'll likely have on a SWAT team is command. And this is usually 1 or 2 individuals, and they're called a team commander. And what that team commander does is on high-risk incidents, critical incidents, things where the SWAT team is involved, that team commander communicates with the incident commander, which is usually a patrol supervisor or upper-level patrol administrator. And the incident commander typically handles logistics. Which traffic is flowing where, what officers are left on the street as opposed to this critical incident, so on and so forth. The tactical commander or team commander handles everything related to that SWAT team being on scene. So they would handle the outer perimeter, which would be SWAT operators that are responsible for setting a perimeter, a safe zone, or a warm zone, if you will. An inner perimeter, which is typically the entry team or rescue team, rescue task force. They all have different names. And then the team commander would also handle tactical decisions, whether or not they're going to make entry, a dynamic entry, which route they're going to take inside the structure, all of those decisions. So that tactical commander is a very important cog in a critical incident response wheel, because that tactical commander has to provide critical details to the incident commander so the incident commander can make higher level decisions and talk with either administration, chiefs of police, mayors, heads of the city, things like that when they want information. So with the team commander, this position rarely, if ever, is inside the stack per se. They're not typically an operator, somebody that's making entry into a structure, has a primary function of a tactical role on the team. This is usually a decision maker. Then what you typically have are operators. These are the individuals that are trained to be a tactical member of that specialized unit. So they are the ones making entry. They have different roles within a team, and they're typically the officers you see dressed out in all the gear, whether it be helmets, ballistic protection, armor plates. They're in the vehicles, the Hummers, the MRAPs, things like that. Those are the operators. Those are the ones that are boots on the ground and are typically performing the operation physically. Within the operators, now this is where each team's different. You're going to have positions such as medic or TIMS unit. You're going to have positions such as sniper or snipers, spotters. You'll have positions such as breacher. Those would be the individuals actually breaching a point of entry. You also have gas teams and usually hostage negotiators or some type of hostage negotiation team. My handwriting's getting pretty terrible down there because I'm writing the wrong way. So our team consists of these different areas as well and a couple other specialized areas, but typically a team is going to consist of at least this. And what this does is makes you more well-rounded as a team to respond to any incident. So you'll have, a few guys assigned as snipers. Usually you have a few guys trained and assigned as breachers. You'll have officers assigned to a gas team. They've received training in how much gas to put into a structure, how to put the gas into a structure, how to actually deploy the gas, things like that. A hostage negotiation team. Now our hostage negotiators, they are under the umbrella of our SWAT team or SRT, but they kind of run themselves. They go to their own training. They have a supervisor within their own unit as well, but they are technically under our umbrella, and should we respond to a critical incident where we need that communication open with someone that's talking, we will call them out as well. Every team's going to have operators. Most teams will have some type of medic element. We have embedded medic element. Other teams will employ, whether it be other municipality medics that are trained tactically, or they'll take township medics and kind of put them on the team. The major metropolitan areas will actually have TIMS units. Those are licensed medics that are also certified, trained, and have accreditation as SWAT operators. So it just depends the size of your team and what you're really responding to, but most teams have a medical element as well. But this is the baseline overview of what a SWAT team is structurally. All right, so this is our main briefing area. This is where the team commander would put out all of the information that is available on the mission, assign roles, assign certain functions for team members, and put out the information given to them for the mission. This obviously would be for missions that we have intelligence on prior to deploying to, and not active situations. We have a media cart there if we have footage we need to watch or any type of intelligence that needs to be covered prior to deployment. We would go over that at the briefing. And basically that is a chance for team members to ask questions about what they're about to get into, ask questions about clarifying their role, and also to be given instruction and given information about the upcoming mission. All right, as far as a typical loadout for a SWAT operator, a lot of team members carry basically the same equipment. Now, I'm going to be leaving out an awful lot here because there are so many different specialized positions within a team. There's also different team members that are certified in using different tools and different equipment. So I'm just going to cover the base package here of what most SWAT operators would utilize. First off, when you see a SWAT team, kind of the thing that draws attention to them is they're in a different uniform, and we're no different. You typically wear some type of BDU style uniform, and what that does is separates you from patrol officers, not because you're better or anything like that, but it distinguishes you as a different function on a team. Also, there are tactical advantages to different color patterns and things like that. That's also another debate for another video, but we utilize the multicam on our team, and that will differentiate you from patrol officers, and it also gives you more utility within your uniform than a standard patrol uniform. If anyone's wondering what type of BDUs these are Vertex pants. I also have, I believe, a Vertex top, but you'll also wear these inner belts here. This is a Cobra belt from High Speed Gear, and that will obviously support your pants and go under your combat belt, which I'll show you here in a few minutes. This would be what's called a combat shirt, and I'll do my best to keep my hand over the patch there. But this is what is called a combat shirt, and what that provides is this material here. Don't ask me what it is, I have no idea. All I know about it is it has a lot more breathability than my uniform shirt, and that would go under your plate carrier and all of your gear. So it just keeps you more comfortable. It keeps that moisture away from your skin, keeps you cool in the summer, and makes you not freeze in the winter. It's standard ripstop material up here for the combat shirt, and typically they zip all the way to the top for some type of neck coverage. Next on the list, a little bit different from patrol vests, is your plate carrier. And this is much heavier than a patrol vest. This is much heavier than a patrol vest. And the reason being is we have level 3 plates in there, which are rifle rated plates. Naturally, next on the list is the plate carrier. This would go over your combat shirt. Now, this is also another piece of equipment where there are a ton of accessories for, and each operator is different as far as what they wear. There's, shoulder protection here. Sometimes there's arm protection. It depends on what your job is or what you're doing on the team. But at its base form, this is the plate carrier. What makes it different than a patrol vest is there's a rifle rated plate in there, a level 3 plate. So it should stop a rifle round, and I emphasize should. Now, there's plenty of videos out there. There's all types of gadgets that you can hook to this. I even did a mic loop presentation, which is an awesome piece of equipment. So that is something obviously that you'll attach to here. We attach our tourniquets to the plate carrier. A lot of your equipment that you're going to take out on the mission will attach directly to this plate carrier via the MOLLE system. Staying on the topic of protection would be your ballistic helmet. This is not a very exciting piece of equipment, not a lot to say about it, other than it provides ballistic protection to your noggin. A lot of guys will attach their goggles to their helmet. There's nothing special about that other than you don't lose your goggles on training, you don't lose your goggles on missions, they kind of stay attached right here. And it is convenient to have that attached or affixed to your helmet because you can just flip them up if they're fogging up or if they're not doing something for you on an incident. You can just kind of flip them up and not have to worry about putting them in a pocket or putting them elsewhere. So every operator will be wearing ballistic head protection on missions. All right, switching gears over to the belt. This is your combat belt or your battle belt, or I don't really care what you call it. This is essentially your police duty belt, only in a SWAT or tactical capacity. And honestly, it serves the same function as a police duty belt. Differences being the appearance, obviously. This has a rubber texture on the inside, so it kind of adheres to your waist. It doesn't slide around when you attach it to your waistline there. Also, it has MOLLE all the way around, so if you need to carry extra handcuffs or you need to attach certain packs or bags, or obviously your holster that attaches to your either inner belt or combat belt, depending on how you have your holster set up. I have a med pouch set up on mine, and I keep it kind of light with my combat belt. There's not a ton of gadgetry that I put on mine. This is a High Speed Gear combat belt, and the nice thing about that is there's really no fussing with a buckle. So essentially these combat belts are, pieces of equipment you can slide on really fast, and you can kind of get in the game quickly with these without a whole lot of fastening and buckling and all of that. So this would be your combat belt. Every operator would obviously deploy with one of these as well. So then a few of the more interesting things, or at least the things that I get asked most about, would be either the diversion devices or the weapons. Diversion devices, these are flashbangs. Depending on how your team procedures are set up. Now in Ohio, we utilize a flashbang pole, and that's not on every mission. There are times where you'd still throw these into a structure, into a room like the good old days, but now we utilize a pole. It's safer for everyone, and unless it's like a dynamic situation where you need to get in there right now, I'd say about 99% of the time these flashbangs are put on the end of a pole and then deployed. But it's different for every area, so I'm not quite sure how else that's done around the country. Now weaponry for our team, it's very specific what we use as far as a primary firearm. Everybody will have a long rifle or shotgun or be assigned some specific role within the team of a weapon other than their sidearm, but we all carry, got an empty chamber here. We all carry the S.W.A.T P226. Not much to say about that. This isn't a video really to get into a gun debate on what's the best. I love this gun. I shoot very well with this gun, but there's not really a lot to say about it because I'm not really concentrating on the gun. But you will have a sidearm on our team, and most teams you are at least carrying a handgun or sidearm, and this is what we utilize, the S.W.A.T P226. Now, depending on your position on the team, I'll clear this one as well. Nothing in the chamber, nothing in the mag. Depending on your position in the team, you'll be assigned a long rifle as well. Now, our team carries these Colt M16s, which obviously are select fire, up to automatic there, but you can have any variation of a long rifle. You can go to short barrel, silencers, compensators, muzzle brakes, all of that. Almost everyone has some type of an optic. This is an Aimpoint Micro T2. Obviously, you have to have irons or at least backup sights on your long rifle. These are a tremendous asset to our team. They allow both close quarter engagement and distance engagement. We all train at different levels as far as where we're at with our rifle, and that's kind of how we assign members on the team of who's going to carry a rifle on a mission, who isn't. So this is a tremendous asset to our team. It gives you a leg up in most situations, and quite honestly, we couldn't do without it. All right, on to vehicles. Most teams will be outfitted with at least some type of a fleet of armored vehicles or armor. And a lot of times when we say armor, we're actually talking about the vehicles and not the rifle-rated vest that we're wearing. Now, armor is a fairly hot topic in the media as far as needs for law enforcement agencies. I'm not going to debate that in this video, but I will say this, that it is much better and much safer, and I definitely think much more of my job when we get to arrive in a piece of equipment that can stop bullets. You have to put it back in perspective that if we are called to a situation, it's already bad. It's not one of those it could be bad type situation. It's bad already. So when you have that equipment that is capable of protecting you even that much more, it's peace of mind for the member inside the equipment, and then also it helps resolve the situation a lot more safely and more efficiently. If you are taking rounds in a standard, say a standard full conversion van, all of the typical long rifle weaponry that teams can encounter, that's going to rip right through any conventional vehicle. I don't care how you try to outfit it. I've seen teams try to put vests on the inside of their vehicles, and while that is a little bit extra protection, it's still not the same as actual armor. So the reason for deploying that armor is to keep everyone safe. It's not to roll down the street and look like a tank. It's to keep everybody inside that vehicle safe. Our team uses the Armadillo. We also have a Hummer, and I'll show you some of that here in a few minutes. We also have, a trailer for our equipment, which I'll explain when we deploy, what we would bring to the scene with that trailer. And when we work with our narcotics unit, we use their vehicles as well, conversion vans, things like that. All right, another typical thing you'll see on tactical teams, albeit not on all of them, is a headquarters or a separate facility from the agency. Ours isn't any different in that respect. We have our own headquarters. This is where we respond to for missions that we can actually plan for. However, if we have to deploy straight out to a mission, say something that there's an active ongoing situation where they need SWAT right away, we will deploy directly to the scene. So I think in a few of the other videos I've put out, I've actually shown my locker for patrol. The locker for a SWAT team, now this is not going to be every single SWAT member, but for our team, the way we do it is we have these bins. I'll have to pan down and show you the bins, but we have bins here that if we had an active mission where we needed to respond directly to the scene, we would have a couple members respond directly to our headquarters and they would get the necessary equipment to bring to the scene. That way the majority of the team can just respond directly to where that threat is and change out there. So some of the items that obviously you would bring to that scene is your uniform. Most of our equipment are stored in these bins that I'll show you here in a second. And that way, the members that are assigned to come here and grab our equipment, they can run down here. They know right where everything is. It's all in the same place for every member. They can grab it, throw it in the trailer, and go. And so that is how a SWAT team would respond to a scene. All right, so going off what I said, this is my SWAT locker. And you can see there is the bin that would be taken right off that shelf and put into the trailer. Down here are my boots. They're right out where everybody can see them, so they can throw that in as well. But the BDUs are right there. I also have an extra set of BDUs in the bin, and then you can keep most of your accessories and things like that on the other side of the locker. This isn't standard. This is just how our team does it. This is the way we found it most efficient, and it works for us. So some of the other specialized tools that we use for entries or a situation where we're actually inside a structure, just outside the structure and going to make entry, we will have a member assigned to the toolkit, and this kit essentially has all of the items that you would need to force entry into a structure, into a residence. In the kit you have things such as bolt cutters here, you have a HOW tool, sort of a strong pry bar or wedge. Also, I'm not going to get it out, but you have a small axe here. This is a window rake. This is something that you would break through a window and rake it out so you're not cutting yourself with your hands raking out a window to make entry through that point. Over here is another HOW tool that we commonly use. And then you have the infamous ram, and this is what we would use to make entry through a door. A couple other pieces of equipment that are pretty commonly used for us. We'll have a system of ladders that we'll utilize if we have to do a ladder entry. And then shields. We have a few shields for clearing structures or even being at the exterior where you're taking rounds there. There's a potential to take rounds there. You'll always want to utilize a shield for that type of cover. So that was an extremely quick overview of the inner workings of a SWAT or tactical team. Obviously, there are a lot of specific things that I glossed over, so if you have follow-up questions, just put those in the comments and I'll try to get to those as best as I can. But there's also a reason that I glossed over many of those, and I just might not be able to answer your question. All right, I hope you liked this week's video. That was a broad overview of what a SWAT team is and what it entails to be on a SWAT team and the different functions of members of the SWAT team. If you like this sort of content, please hit that subscribe button. I'm also on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. I do different things on each of those platforms. I just did a giveaway last week on Snapchat, so pay attention for those things. My handle name can be found here. It's the same on every single platform. And until next time, have a good week and be safe.